Welcome back. Now that September is done, we can find out if we made a profit.
Right. We know you earned some revenue, but you also had some expenses. In accounting, when your revenue exceeds your expenses, you have a net income.
And what if my revenue doesn't exceed my expenses?
That's called a net loss. Not so good for business.
I should probably just quit if that's the case. Maybe flip some burgers at McDonald's.
Not necessarily, big guy. Lots of successful businesses experience net loss. Amazon operated with net losses for 9 years before its first net income. 9 years.
False news, Janice.
Nope, for reals. There are dozens of income statements to prove it.
What's an income statement?
Well, it looks like this. You've got a section for revenue, another section for expenses, and another section for net income.
What about that top part?
That's the header. The header of any financial report should show the name of the business. Then you have the name of the report. Finally, you have a date. In the case of an income statement, you'll describe whether it's a month or a quarter or a year. It depends on your fiscal period.
So then we can fill in the rest. My sales were $630, so that's my total revenue. I spent $80 on advertising and another $80 on fuel expenses. After my adjusting entries, I found $10 in insurance expense and $30 in supplies expense.
So your total expenses were $200. To find your net income, you subtract your expenses from your revenue. 630 minus 200 leaves a net income of 430.
That's good news. Looks like I'm better off than Jeff Bezos at Amazon.
Slow down, fella.
What about that percent of sales column?
Well, we can divide each subtotal by the total revenue and find out how much of every sales dollar you're spending on each category. Sales are naturally 100% of sales. 630 divided by 630 is 1 or 100%.
As for my expenses, I had 200 in expenses. 200 in expenses divided by 630 in sales is 0.317 or 31.7%.
And 430 divided by 630 is 0.683 or 68.3%.
What use are those numbers if I already know I had a net income?
You can use those percentages to compare month to month and see if your expenses are eating up less or more of your revenue. It's also a good way to compare with other businesses in the same industry. You could compare your numbers to another traveling music teacher and see if you spend less or more than they do in each category.
That's a good idea. For now, it's my first month of business. We'll look back next month and see how it goes.